Yo, what is up, everybody? Popo here, bring guys a new video, and today we're going to be discussing whether Nuzlocking makes you better at VGC. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about whether Nuzlocking makes you better at VGC or not. I started playing IronMON again, and I'm doing Emerald National Dex IronMON, which adds all the Pokemon up until the Teal Mask DLC. So it's really cool seeing some of these Pokemon Emerald, and the sprite work is fantastic. So if you're interested in watching that, head over to my Twitch channel, have a good time. It's just a nice chill stream where we die to the rival a lot. So come and join me. It's a good time. But yeah, it got me thinking whether or not playing IronMON or doing a Nuzlocke actually makes me better and improves my game in VGC. And at first I was really thinking it doesn't, because it just, you know, it's a separate game. You're doing something completely different. But the more I started to think about it, the more I think it actually does improve your actual overall game. But before we get into why I think that, I just want to go over what a Nuzlocke and an IronMON challenge is. First, a Nuzlocke is a self-imposed rule set that you put onto the game to just make it more challenging. You know, you pick your starter, and you can only catch one Pokemon on every single route, and it has to be the first encounter. And if your Pokemon gets knocked out, you must release that Pokemon or put them in the box that's called dead, is usually what I do. And that Pokemon can no longer be used for the rest of the run, so you're kind of just down a Pokemon. But there are additional rules as well that people will put on, and those are also self-imposed. And you can have anywhere from, you know, you can't use items in battle to having some level caps. And there's a ton of different other rules that you can use in between those two. And of course, if you ever run into a shiny Pokemon, feel free to catch that bad boy, because the rules don't say you can't. So the shiny lock is real, so you want to make sure you catch those. But yeah, so that's the Nuzlocke rules. And for IronMON is a little bit more complicated. I would say go looking it up, because there's a lot to it. But the overall gist of it is you get one Pokemon. You have to kind of beat the game with one Pokemon. Your starter is completely random, so you have to pick left, right, or middle ball, and you have to kind of run with that Pokemon, and then you can pivot at any time, but you can only catch one Pokemon on each of the routes, so you have to be careful. And you cannot battle wild Pokemon at all, so if you do faint a wild Pokemon, you must then catch that Pokemon before you leave the route, and that becomes your new main Pokemon. The only exception to this rule of only catching one Pokemon is when you need a Pokemon to use HMs to progress in the game, obviously. And the trainer battles are all increased in difficulty, as well as you not being able to use items outside of battle. So you can use items in battle, healing items and such. You can also put items on your Pokemon, like berries and such, to help improve them in battle. But everything is completely randomized as well. So all the Pokemon and all the Pokemon on each route, every trainer, every single thing, as well as every single move being randomized. So if you do get a Pokemon, like let's say you get a water Pokemon, it could have fire, grass, and psychic attacks on it and never get a water move. It could have all physical moves and have a special attacking stat, because all of the stats are also randomized. Like I said, there's a lot to these IronMON challenges, so make sure you look those up. I will link a place to go down in the underbar. Same with the Nuzlocke information. That will all be down there, so make sure you go check it out. But without further ado, let's get into why I think it does improve you as a VGC player. So my initial thoughts were it wouldn't, because basically you're doing one-on-one battles. You can do doubles in both of these challenges, of course. If you use a randomizer or something like that, you can set to double battles for every battle, but that just makes it 10 times harder, especially if you're doing IronMON. But the main gist of it is that you are just taking one Pokemon and you're trying to beat the game, or you're bringing a team and it's singles and stuff. But the main thing about these is the fact that they are puzzles, especially IronMON. You have to try to figure out how you can navigate through the game with a single one Pokemon. You have to make choices and decisions based on the Pokemon that you have, and develop strategies going into certain battles with zero knowledge on what those Pokemon are going to be. You just know the levels of the Pokemon. So and you have limited experience to gain by battling all the trainers, and then you have to make chances and take chances, and you know, oh, do I battle all the Pokemon inside this gym? Because you cannot get out of the gym and heal. So you have to battle all the Pokemon inside the gym, so that way you can maximize your experience gain going into the gym leader, but doing so also risks you taking a lot of damage. So there's payoffs and then there's downfalls to each of these experiences, and that kind of problem solving is a really good skill to have in Pokemon. Preservation of a Pokemon is a really good skill to have in competitive Pokemon as well. Knowing what your Pokemon's going to do and understanding what your stats actually mean and how they actually affect the Pokemon is a huge part of playing a VGC match, or even singles for that matter. Knowing that having a high base stat is beneficial sometimes, but sometimes it could be a negative if you have it in the wrong spot or it's doing the wrong thing. You know, you're too bulky or you're just too fast, and knowing that pivoting and be able to switch it up and change your game plan is always something that is on the table, and it gives a really good skill to help you develop into a better overall competitive player. Seeing these Pokemon in a different way, and especially with Nuzlocking, because there's sometimes when you are using Pokemon that you normally would never even consider. Let's say you get like a Goldeen that evolves into a Sea King, and you would be like, I would never use a Sea King, but guess what? You're stuck with using that Sea King. So you have to make the best of what you have, and you have to put that Pokemon in a position to succeed, and that's an important skill to have, and be able to recognize when situations call for certain things is a very important skill just overall in Pokemon. VGC is very, very dynamic, right? It's always changing. There's always something. No two teams are the same, and that comes down to EVs, IVs, everything like that. You can face the same team 100 times and it'd be completely different 100 times. So it's a really hard game to play, and a lot of people don't realize that going in. They think it's going to be easy, and it's just not. And I think doing challenges like this help you open your eyes and just like get a new perspective on Pokemon in general, and being able to see these Pokemon used in different capacities is beneficial, I think, overall to your mental development of playing Pokemon. And if you're just getting into Pokemon, do some Nuzlocke challenges. You know, do the hardest one you can. Maybe not do IronMON because it is a little bit different, but start with a Nuzlocke. Do a double Nuzlocke, so that way all your battles are double, and, you know, limit yourself to only having 4 Pokemon so it feels like you're doing a VGC battle. You know, do level limits so that way you're not over leveling. Do things like this so that way you can start to understand positioning, and you can start to understand like developing your board and just putting your Pokemon in good positions. And maybe, you know, that is going to be that trigger for you to help make you just that much better. And you're going to have fun doing so, because Nuzlocking is amazing and it is a great time. IronMON is brutal, but you have a good time doing it. It is an rewarding experience, especially when you start getting a run going. When you beat that rival and then you beat that first gym and you just feel like you're on top of the world, and then you get smacked down by some random, you know, 8-year-old bug catcher that has, you know, Arceus for some reason, and his Arceus has, you know, explosion and just one-shot your Pokemon, you know. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. But those are the punches that you roll with, and that's what makes it fun and a great experience. And be able to overcome the losses and, you know, get yourself back up and push on is also a valuable experience, because losing is part of winning. And if you forget about that, then you're just going to keep losing, because, you know, you got to learn from those experiences and become a winner. So, yeah, this is going to be a quick video, but I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.